Okay, we're going to now make an undercollar for the jacket. Things we need for this is basic pattern, collar melting, it must be on the bias, collar canvas, again on the bias, scissors, thimble, needle, matching cottons, basting cotton and silk. So first of all we get our chalk, which I should have said, and we mark out the pattern. So we just mark straight away through this, and you'll see the two notches here, one there and one there. There's a pre-drawn line on the pattern, and the way we do that is we mark up an inch and a quarter, don't have phones, along, and where this line is, it will correspond with this line here. And now what we do is we cut along the line here, the line here, there. So that's now cut. Turn it over so it now becomes the inside, laying it exactly on top, and now we go to the machine. So come to the machine, obviously be very careful with the machine. At the beginning and the end we're going to tack it. So little small tack, take a small seam there, which is about ½ centimetre, and a tack again, and then just trim that, and then we go back to the board. Okay, we've come off the machine and we're coming to the pressing. So what we're going to do is this seam here, we're just going to press it open, hold the iron on there for a second, and then take it off. So you can clearly see the seam's pressed open. Keep this line straight. This is curved because that's the shape of, that will become the shape of the collar. Now we're going to go over and put the collar together. Okay, we're now going to start making up the canvas. Here you can see the line here, and on the side that we banged on you can just see the line. So what we're going to do is just chalk it and follow the line just so we can actually see it. Right, so get your thimble, there, a pre-done cotton there for me, and we're just going to lay this on here. So I'll just turn it round like that, again keeping this line straight. So we're just going to put a little knot in our cotton there, going to base the 2 stitches down here, and each time we're going to hold this and push it forward like that. So going to push and take it forward. Keep about 1 centimetre away from the line all the time. This doesn't have to be very small stitches, this will come out once the collar has been made. And again, just keep pushing it. And then just break the cotton, and that's that. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to trim around the whole of this. And just drop that on the floor, put it in the bin. Right, so This is now ready to start hand sewing. What we're going to do is we use a strand of this silk, tie again a little knot in the end here, and now what we're going to do is in the middle here just push it through about a centimetre. Don't start at the beginning, start around about a centimetre up, and you'll explain that. I'll explain more once we actually start putting the collar in. Put 2 or 3 holding stitches here, and then what we're going to do here is a small running stitch all the way along until about a centimetre there. Okay, we come down to sit now, and we're going to start doing the sewing. Where we put the 2 tacks on, we're going to do a running stitch, and that basically is a forward stitch. So every stitch we do goes forward from the last one. Do quite small stitches, and we're just going to run along the whole collar all the way to the other end. So it's very important that when we're sewing this that we do use silk, because if you use cotton it will break in a minute, and you'll see this when we get to the other end. Just keep a nice even stitch. Now some tailors will actually do this by machine. I just think it's wrong. I prefer the traditional method that I was taught over 30 years ago. Right, now we're coming to the end here. Right, that's it. Now, I'm just going to put my needle there. You can see the stitching is all there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it a little bit at a time, just by drawing it in. And you can see there. And I'm probably only drawing it in just under 2 centimetres, if that. So we're now looking for this little ruffled edge. Yeah, so, and then I'm going to put some fastening stitches here. Again, 2 or 3 fastening stitches. Now that is the reason we don't use cotton, because if we use cotton it would break. So now what I'm going to do is put the needle through, come here, and this time what we're going to do is fold it, create a crease. So we can do this with our hands, making sure that the whole of this where we've drawn it in is even, so it actually comes out like that, so it's all nice and even. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to catch, you can see it there, right on the edge of the canvas, and this helps create a crease. And then we're just going to do a small stitch, just catching it all the way through. And again, just take your time, but just create them nice and small. There we go. I'm just coming up halfway now. Here, just keeping the collar curled as well all the time, making sure that the fullness that we've put in there is even, so you can now start seeing the shape of the collar. We're coming up to the end there, and we actually finish where we started, and that's it there. Couple of stitches in there to hold it, and now we're going to start padding. Okay, so we've now turned it over, and we're now looking at this section of the collar. This is called the stand, and we're just going to start padding it. And as we've done on previous beginning videos, this is a padding stitch, and we're just going to do a much smaller one. Each one will be no bigger than a centimetre. So we're just catching it. And the most important thing here as well is that we don't do great big stitches. So what we don't want to be doing is seeing stitches like this coming through. We want very, very small stitches all the way through. So I'm just going to quickly pad this. Well, little knot there for us. Right, and when we come to the end, come close to the end, but don't come right to the end. And when we come back, what's important here is instead of going in line here, we go in the middle of each stitch. And this is really important that we do this. So we're just going to pad that. And if the stitch suddenly goes out a little bit, don't be scared to put a little stitch in and then come back and then get yourself back in the middle. Yeah, just do that again there. I'll just thread myself up another cotton. Right, and we're just going to do this last row, and this time I just want, again, just nice small stitching, and we're going to keep about 1/2 centimetre away from the edge here. So we're going to keep it like that, 1/2 centimetre. And you can see all the time I'm keeping this curled, and that's to help make the roll of the collar. A couple of stitches at the end, and that's the part of the under collar now done, the stand. So we're going to turn it over and then pad the main collar. Okay, so we can now turn it over and do the main part of the collar. And the way we do this is that we're going to do 3 to 4 rows here, and we're going to keep 1 centimetre away from here and 1 centimetre away from here, and we'll just show you how we do that. So start from here. I'm not really into doing too many tacks here, but just do one small one, and then we're just going to do our little stitching again. Again, what's really important I find here is a lot of people use machines, and when they make the collar it becomes a very flat, very sort of ready-made look, which is the opposite to what we're trying to create. As you can see, the collar is starting to turn a little bit. Can you see that turn there? That roll. So what we're trying to do is create this roll all the time. So when we put the collar on, it doesn't, the ends of the collar, the leaf edge and the points of the collar don't start turning the wrong way. We want them always turning towards the body. So as you can see there, I'm just easing it, trying to make it curl a little bit. So we're just going to do that. I wouldn't want it to curl too much because we won't be able to get rid of it. As my old boss said, just do it right. And now we're just coming back on ourselves, and what I'll do is I'm just going to speed this up a little bit, and then I'll come back to you once I've done the 4 rows. So now we've come up to our 4th row, so we're just going to finish this row off, and then I'll show you how to do the corners, the end bits. So we're just going to bring that along. And again, it's about using your hands, using your fingers. And as you can see, we're just starting to make a little roll, and that's exactly what we want. I'm not one of these tailors like to put thousands and thousands of minute stitches in. I don't think that's healthy for the garment. My old boss said just put the right ones in, you'll be fine. So anyway, so we're now coming to the end here. Remember what I said here, keep away about 1 centimetre. So just bring the cotton back there and then start again. Keeping it curled all the way. And then once you're coming in line this way, just come back again towards your body. Just going to fasten that off and take another piece of cotton. These little bits of cotton that you can see now, we'll be cutting them off in a minute, so don't worry too much about that. And again, as you come up to a straight line across here, we'll come back on ourselves and come back to the body. And you can really see me now turning this and using my finger to make it go round. And again, we're just doing that. And as you can see here, I'm just going over a couple of stitches because we will be cutting this when we shape the collar, so this just gives it a little bit more structure in its body. So we'll break that off there, and now we're going to do this end. And what I'll do this time is where I said to you where we make a straight line, about the same distance, you could measure it if you wanted to from there to there, you come back. So this time we're going to go down, and then again take it away all the way to approximately a centre either way, keeping it curled all the time. This doesn't take very long. Done thousands of these when I was an apprentice. My first 3 weeks of padding collars, that was it. All we ever did is pad collars. There. I'm just coming up to the end now. And remember I said about just going over it, a bit of structure in the middle of each stitch, just one fasten, and that's the collar. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to trim these, take it over to the pressing machine, trim these edges and start shaping the collar and preparing it to go on. Okay, we've come over to the pressing machine. As you can see, just laying the collar down, it already wants to curl. This is a good thing. So we're just going to trim off this. So if you want any little bits of cotton you see here, trim them off. What we're going to do now is we're going to start shaping it. Now a collar needs to be round because it has to go round your neck. So what we do is we press it and we work the collar round equally using where that seam is as a centre. So as we work the collar, that's it. You want to push down a little bit on the iron because you want this to be creased, because this will end up as a permanent crease on the collar. Here and here we don't want to crease yet. That will come a little bit later when we put the collar on and set the width of the lapels. So that's that there. So what we're going to do now is just turn it over, and this bit here, I just want you to press that flat. And this bit here, press that flat. And this will make it a lot easier to put the actual collar on. So what we're going to do now is, with a pair of scissors, we're just going to take a bare bit off here, all the way along, and when we're finishing and sewing this collar on permanently, you don't want to see this come through, so it's probably easier to do this now. Some people do it at the end. I've always found it's easier to do it now, and it's less chance of catching the job and putting a little nip in it. So, and that's it. And now if you go like that, that is your collar prepared to put on the job now.